Welcome, everyone. We are live, we are recording, and as always, we will start off with some friendly house rules in absence of Aaron. So first things first, I think, well, I'm going to do my best Aaron impression. I can think of 1, 5, 7, 0 people that have been successful with automations without asking questions. So this is the purpose of this community call. It's all about asking questions, whether it's here live in the chat, on Discord afterwards, all about collaborating and learning from one another. Automation is the dream machine. You can do so many different things, but we're all here learning and growing from one another. So please do not feel shy about asking questions. One of the things I did mention there was Discord. If you are new to Rewst, make sure you are on our Discord server. We have a bunch of channels in there full of exceptional partners, some of which are on the call today, who are not only offering workflows that they themselves have built for you to use and leverage at your own MSP, but also asking questions. You know, I need help with this particular automation. Does anyone have a fix for this particular API I'm struggling with? So many helpful, friendly people in there, all collaborating to make their automations much more efficient and much better as technology continues to accelerate and change constantly. So make sure you're in Discord and using all the different forums we have in there. We also use Discord for our support. So if you are a Rewst partner, you will be assigned your own private MSP channel, and that is how you get in touch with our support team. Simply drop a message in there and someone from our support team will get in touch and help you with whatever issue or challenge you're experiencing. Next up, I haven't said it yet, but I guess triggers at the ready for our conference of the year. If someone can drop a link into the chat all about Flow. That is our vendor agnostic show happening less than a month now at the very end of June. So if you have not been to Flow before, if you weren't able to make it last year and you've still not got your ticket, please get signed up. It's going to be a fantastic show down in Tampa, loads of great workshops. Really looking forward to it. Lots of Rewst staff, including myself, are going to be there. We can't wait to see you all. I think that is it for our kind of our opener. Have I missed anything, anyone? I'm thinking no one's dropped a link in the chat yet, so I will do the honors. Oh, Brian, my nemesis, there he is. That was me silently taunting you, Brian. I'm surprised Olivia didn't beat you to it. She's been the one getting it in there over the past few weeks. Okie dokie. Today, guys, we've got a jam-packed agenda, so we're going to have some company updates. So Daniel in product is going to join us in just a moment, but I just wanted to give a heads up for some of the folks who are doing demos later so they know what order we're going in. We'll be speaking with Derek from my IT crew, Daniel from Raven, Matt from Usherwood, and then Austin from C Forward. And then at the end, I've got a special chat with Andrew Nicholson lined up as well. So lots to get through. So let's not waste any time. I will kick it over to our everyone's favorite Canadian, Daniel with an A, over on the product team.
Hello, everybody. All right. We don't have any dev or dev product updates for today. So as you can see here, we have check back next week. The only reason for that is I shouldn't say that we didn't have any deploys this week. We are doing some major work to improve performance and stability. So we have put out some prerequisites this week. They're all currently behind feature flags, and we are going to continue doing that over the next week to hopefully lead to some major performance and stability improvements. So we delayed our release. We'll be releasing again next week on top of the stability improvements that we have. And those releases will include some enhancements to both the workflow results page search and filter, as well as the new executions dashboard widget, which we are testing internally right now with great success. And yeah, just a couple more items until those are out the door. So that's all the updates I have for this week.
have a feeling, Daniel, you're going to be very cryptic and withholding from updates over the next few weeks. I hear that there might be some large announcements in the work for Flow at the end of the month. So another reason, if you haven't got your ticket, come live for some big announcements there.
We can neither confirm nor deny there will be great announcements at Flow.
Yeah. And we don't have Aaron on the call to like just fully, give anything away. So you're gonna have to come down to Tampa, folks. All right, JP, I see you there. Thanks for hopping on. We've got you and Paul, I believe, with some updates and a bit of a demo from Marketplace this week.
Yep. This week in the for Marketplace updates, we have our usual bug fixes and enhancements, adjustments to workflows. We still have a couple new crates in the hopper that aren't quite ready to release yet, but our demo today is with Paul. Paul did some enhancement of our documentation workflows to add a new product to it. We support IT Glue, Hoodoo, and now SyncMonkey, an integration we added a while back. So I'll let Paul show that off, and we'll go from there.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'll go ahead and share my screen. All right, so here's the 4 new crates that SyncMonkey has been added to. Quick way to find them if you are using SyncMonkey is you can go on the Crate Marketplace, click the drop down, and just click the SyncMonkey tag here, and it'll pull them right up. So this is basically the same concept as the other ones. It's going to document the whole environment. It'll list like licensed users, etc., shared mailboxes, user details, and group details. So we'll go ahead and run these here. So we'll pull this up. It's a little different. SyncMonkey isn't going to edit like an asset for this specific one. It's going to add it in the documents section, and it's going to create folders for those 4 crates, which will show up in here after we run this. And we'll go ahead and kick these off. So when you have these crates, I'll go through that too, actually real quick. So you would just unpack the crate, go through here, continue. This should be already all set. You won't have to do much to this. So you can just, as long as it's enabled, just hit unpack, and it's going to add it as a cron, and it's going to run, I believe it's at around 7 p.m. every day. And then, so at that time, it'll update the SyncMonkey documents with any updated or changed documents that we'll see. So we'll go ahead and run these. You won't have to do the test or anything like this. If you have the cron set up, it's going to run automatically. If you have the integration set up, it's going to automatically set this as well, so you won't have to do any of this. And I'm just going to run it for 5 iterations, so it doesn't take the whole meeting here. Oops. If you were to go in here and look at the trigger yourself, you would see that there's a cron set up for each of these, and then it's set here. You can modify this to whatever time you want it to run. And you do not need to check this off for all organizations. It's going to run top level, but it's going to run as all the orgs within the workflow. And the orgs are going to be set up, see, based on your integration mapping. So you would go open up the integration like anything else and just map the your orgs with the SyncMonkey company that you have set up. And that's running for each of those now. So we'll go ahead and pull one of these up. So that's going to iterate through each organization. It'll look for if you have the integration set up. If you don't, it's not going to run, but it'll continue going down until we get the one mapping that I have, which is my test environment. So this one already finished, it looks like, so we can open up this one. It's going to look like this right here for the groups. You click this, and then it's going to list. It'll list all your groups. I only selected 5 for the test, and then you click it, and then it's going to have all this information. It'll have, if it has group members, it's going to have them all listed here. Let's see if we can get a different one. Yeah, so based on the group, we'll have different information. If anything changes in this group and it runs, it's going to go ahead and update that specific one each time. Anything that changes, it's only going to update that one that changed. And then we'll go ahead and environment. It's just like the IT Glue one and the Voodoo. It should show the same exact information as that. And basically show, this is the whole environment, so it'll show all the licensed users and a bunch of information. That's pretty useful. And then the other one's finished as well, so we can go ahead and, well, that's still running. Give that a second. We'll let those finish here. There we go. So users. Oh, those mailboxes. Okay, so then here's the mailboxes. It's going to have all this information as well for you. It'll show the full access and as access if there are users in there. And it'll show all this other information for you and stored in here automatically. And users. Same with this, it's going to have all this information. It's going to have all the groups it's added to, if it's synced or not, license information, and a bunch of user contact information and display name. That is pretty much it for those 4 crates, and this will run every day. If anything changes, it's going to update that information in these and basically run seamlessly in the background. You won't even notice it's running, but it will keep it updated. And that is that crate, or those crates, I should say.
Sweet. Thanks so much for sharing, Paul. And yeah, to Lucas's point in the chat, yeah, impressive, taunting the demo gods with a live execution there as well, and everything went to plan. So great job. Thanks so much for sharing. If anyone has questions on those, please drop them in the chat, and we can respond in there. We don't all have to be commenting about 75 years. Moving on, we are going to chat with our education team. The lovely Clea, I think, is here for some education updates and a special announcement.
I am indeed. I dropped some links in the chat. Give me a sec to share my screen. All right, as always, going to start with some shout outs. So Sam, Amy, Pablo, Kyle, Bruce, Caitlin, Cameron, Emils, Jared, I took a breath. I failed in my quest. William, Greg, Nathaniel, Stephen, Yo, Kevin, Brent, Jack, and Tom for passing the foundation certification. Cormac, Dylan, Jen, Kevin, Aaron, Tim, Ryan, Rian, Donovan, Kyle, Cameron, and Jeff for clean automation. What is new in Cluck University? I'll give you a little bit of a tour in a moment here, but know that you can access all the links on that page. And yeah, we are going to make some typo corrections to that page. Nothing like live demos to alert you of spelling mistakes. Thanks for calling it out, though. Good student. That's the kind of student that I always am. So thank you to Robert and to Tom for. Anyway, grab all the links here. We also have new documentation, so don't be missing out on that. It's a Friday afternoon and I'm losing vocabulary quickly. Check out our overview of what can be done with PowerShell scripts in Rewst, and check out some updated crate documentation. Document the M365 environment crate, document group details, V2, document shared mailbox, and user details, V2. As for Cluck University, you might notice some updates to the homepage. We have a brand new course about process engineering. Really, really useful for anyone. Before you start building in Rewst, what the heck are you trying to automate? We have a fantastic course that you can complete in under an hour with video and step-by-step written instructions. Give that a look and share your feedback. We always have a feedback survey as the last lesson in our courses or the last course of a learning path. If folks are wondering, how do I get that fancy certificate? Well, click on the tile to get certified, and you can either do what I do, blast your way through the open book exams and fail on the first time, and then maybe take the requisite training, or choose your own adventure. So exam up front, Rewst Foundations, clean automation, all the training behind the scenes, self-paced or live. We've got options for everyone. And for folks who have earned their certificate, but maybe you lost it or aren't sure where to find it, I promised George I would demo this. Go ahead and click on your profile or the little My Learning tab at the top. And if you scroll down somewhere under your registrations, for me, I've done a lot because I've done a lot of testing and a lot of learning. You can find your certificate right there, and there's a fancy little add to profile button. So go blast it on LinkedIn, go print it out and put it on your fridge and celebrate those certificates. The next thing that I want to share is we are looking for super simple automation ideas. There's a form that you can submit, asks you a few questions, and there will be a prize. So share your simple workflows. Inspire all of us to build something similar, and thank you for your time. Define super simple. Yeah, so as simple as you can make it, I guess. But ideally, it's something that doesn't require setting up a ton of integrations. So think about like your PSA, your RMM, documentation tool, licensing, Microsoft bundle, all those are fair games. Creating a custom integration, maybe that takes more than an hour's worth of work. Keep it simple, something that people can build and get MSP value of in under an hour. So like no workflows about dad jokes or hello world, has to be real MSP value. But yeah, happy to answer any other questions about it, either live or in the chat.
Rod, I see your hand up. You got a question about this?
Yeah, just are you looking at this for things for that what we create and you share those, or things that for you guys to create to make as crates?
So this would be us creating a tutorial for someone to build their own workflow. So okay. It can be like based on a crate, but ideally something that people can build on their own.
Okay, no, that's what I just was wondering, if you wanted the information to be able to make it, or if you want us to give how other people can make it. That's cool.
Yeah. So like if you have an existing workflow that you think will work, one of these questions asks for the URL to your workflow, so Rewst can take a look. If you haven't built it, but you want to like just share ideas of how it would work, then just, I don't know, feel free to write something else in that box and give us as much info as you can. So definitely the more ideas, the merrier. And we will pick a customer winner to give them a prize from the Rewst storefront. So international folks are welcome too.
So guys, prizes available. And yeah, thanks for sharing that, Clea. Love seeing that you can brag about your certification on LinkedIn, get it printed off. I'm definitely going to do that and take it to the next family gathering. Maybe my father will finally tell me he's proud of me once I flaunt that in his face. We'll see.
One day, George, one day.
One day. All right. In just a moment, we're going to have Derek from My IT share a little something, but just while he gets himself set up, I wanted to make a quick announcement about a new initiative that we're running at Rewst called our Business Leaders Focus Group. So we know that this call is amazing. We're coming together to share some of the different automations and workflows that folks are working on, and everything is done through quite a technical lens, which is great. One of the things we are now introducing as well is a new type of group that is more for business owners or business leaders that are a little bit more focused in looking at the outcomes of automation. So how the efficiencies gained are impacting the business, where the ROI is, and kind of looking at things through more of a strategic business outcome focus more than a technical focus. So granted, most of the people on this call may not suit that particular agenda or focus, but I did want to share it with you guys in case there is anyone who's interested in participating. So we have a little form here. You can pop your details in. There's more information about some of the things we're going to be discussing. So if that's something you're interested in participating, please fill out this expression of interest form and we will be in touch. I will drop that into the chat now. There it is for you. Alrighty, Mr. Derek from my IT crew, are you present and with us?
Of course I am. I'm the sarcastic one in the chat, or one of the sarcastic ones.
I can see. Now it's our turn to be sarcastic with you. No, just
Okay.
Before we just jump in, Derek, do you mind just telling us a little bit about what we're looking at? Maybe kind of describing sort of the process in general, and if you were to do that manually, how hectic it would be.
Sure. I actually don't know necessarily how hectic it would be manually, because this is more geared towards dealing with Microsoft Pagination. So the whole idea was similar to kind of what Paul demoed earlier, except taking it a step further. I want to put all of our customers' 365 stuff into a database so that we can use it for whatever we want. We can build off queries, whatever we want. And immediately found that, I can only return about 100 results for users in a single page. And I have never dealt with this before. It's the first time that I'm dealing with large data sets. So I asked for some help, got some help, can't speak highly enough about the Discord, shout out. And I had it all in my parent workflow, and quickly realized that I'm going to have to build this out 6 times for all the different graph calls that I want to make. So, of course, using my clean automation certification, said this is perfect for a sub workflow. So that's kind of what I did, is I took that loop that we need to make for pagination and turned it into a sub workflow. One of the issues that I faced was some of my calls have select and expand parameters. Some have select only, some have expand only, and of course some just don't have any select or expand. So how do I deal, with that? And I really think this was, I don't know, I'm really proud of it. It took me about 10 minutes actually, so no time at all. And really we're just making the first call, and we are, since it's a sub workflow, we're using an input variable to decide what endpoint we want to call to. And then we're using other input variables for our expand and select parameters as well. And from there, obviously we make one per, if it's select and expand, or select only, expand only, blah, blah, blah. And then we begin our loop. So the reason we're only making the different calls once is because if we make that call with the expand and select, it's included in the pagination link. So when we begin the loop, the first thing we do is we check, hey, does the OData next link appear? If it does, then we capture it and we move on. We also check if it's a first run or a consecutive run. So if it's a first run, obviously it's going to be a little bit different than if it's the consecutive run. And so then we come down to process. Here's where we're actually saying, does next link appear? It does. So then we just come back up here and rerun it. We rerun it with the next link, which includes everything after the V1. I just realized I should probably change this to V1 paginations. Won't work for the beta paginations. That's neither here nor there. That's a fix for later. And then it just loops as many times as it needs to through here. And then when it exits, it just outputs. Where's my output? It outputs in the results, and it just captures all those results. So nice, quick, easy. Actually probably going to submit it so nobody copy me yet. Wait till it's out for a demo and then copy me. But yeah, any questions?
Thanks so much for sharing, Derek. Yeah, anyone got any questions they want to pose live about this? I'll just double check the the chat there. Leah's form is live, Derek. So yeah, go ahead, get that in there, and you might pick up a prize.
Absolutely will do.
Sorry, why I keep calling Clea Leah? I'm so sorry, and something in my brain not quite working today. That's the second time this week. Clea, sorry. C's not silent. Oh yeah, maybe actually Linda's right. I actually am saying Clea. You're just not hearing me, right? So deny, reaccuse. Alrighty, moving on. Next up, we have Daniel. Daniel, are you here and present to share your automation?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. How are you this fine Friday? Where are you calling in from?
I am from Georgia. So.
Getting hot down in Georgia.
Yeah, but it's been raining so much lately. Can't really feel it.
So another item from Raven Automation, Daniel. So can you walk us through sort of what it is that you're automating here?
Yeah, so this takes some inspiration from the SIP API. They made a script to basically go in and check the Huntress list of rogue apps, which is basically just a list of apps that aren't really traditional malware, but they are vulnerable to attacks because they usually are over permissioned, like they have permissions to read files and emails. So they're not going to be caught by antivirus or anything like that. So this is just a way to add an extra layer of security and scan your tenant, see if there are any installed in your tenant.
So Daniel, rogue apps isn't necessarily shadow IT. It's more kind of just risky apps that, like you said, aren't necessarily malware, but probably should avoid using them because they're a little loose.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so what this workflow is going to do is it's going to grab a list of those apps from their GitHub. So it's just, get away. It's just going to be a list like this. All of these, I think there's only 6 or so right now, but they're updating it, which is great because as they update it, it's going to be able to detect more and more apps. And then it's going to get the installed apps in your tenant, and then it's going to check if there's any in, well, it's going to look for the apps in your tenant with those IDs. And if it finds any, then it's going to go down this route. If it doesn't, we're just going to pop out and finish. And then we're going to go one step further, and we're going to get all of our admin users, and we're going to check for the admins that have roles in those apps. And we're going to create an alert object with just information about that specific app. And then we will output the alert in either HTML, Markdown, text, either one you want. Here's where you would hook it up to either PSA, you want to do emails, you want to do Discord, Slack, Teams even. And as for a trigger for this workflow, I didn't put one on because it's not in like production or anything. So, but I could see you could do it weekly. You could, any cron would probably be the easiest way. But yeah, so it's pretty simple workflow. I just wanted to show it off and rock just to get exposure because I'm new to Rewst. So
yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, Daniel, is this the first workflow that you built?
Yeah, so I've been using Rewst for like a weekish now. So
wow, only a week. Wow, this is great for just being a weekend. Yeah, I love that. Love the end there where it even gives you the options, right? So some people wanted a ticket, an email, whatever you want. So you've got lots of options there. So good to see. And yeah, with the amount of different applications people are using all over the show, and yeah, some having some pretty glaring security gaps. Yeah, this is definitely a cool one to have.
Yeah, and I have the render right here. So you get something like this. You get the ID, it's enabled, and if there's admins, you'll have who the admin is. That's privileged if there's multiple, and you'll even have the links to read more about it and why it's an issue. So
Sweet.
there's markdown as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks so much, Daniel, for jumping straight in, and welcome to the Rewst community. And yeah, we can't wait to see some more of the stuff you build with Raven in the future as well. Does anyone have any questions for Daniel on this? I'm just going to check the chat real quick. Anyone want to come off mute and ask live or raise a hand? Please do so. If not, we're going to move on to Matt in just a second. Yeah, but great job, Daniel, on the first workflow. That's super impressive and super useful. All right, Matt, you're going to have to, because everyone's slagging me off about saying names, you're going to have to introduce your last name because I don't want to mispronounce it.
It's fine. It's Lavoie.
Yeah, I was going to go with Lavoie, so they're perfect. Happy I avoided that.
I also accept Lavoie.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Good stuff. Matt, where are you calling in from today?
I'm calling in from Syracuse, New York. It's where Usherwood's based out of. And so I've been working on a workflow that automates part of our invoicing process, specifically for Cove. That's been the one standout that has been causing us grief with getting invoice numbers.
So Cove backup. Oh, it's to do with invoice numbers.
Yeah. Like device numbers and quantities for our invoicing for Cove for customers.
Got it. So is this kind of something that's helping you with like billing reconciliation to help make sure you've got the correct number of devices?
We've been trying to provide more details on our invoices for customers to understand better what they're getting from us.
I see. Okay.
So that's what this is focused on, along with just automating more of the invoice process.
Gotcha. It can always be a bit of a double-edged sword, can't it? With customers who want more technical information. Obviously, you want to be transparent about the services you're providing, but sometimes, can be a lot of questions can come off the back of that. But yeah, let's. I see your screen, so take us through what you've got here in Rewst.
Yeah. So this is the current build that I've got scheduled for us and all of our customers, and it's fairly simple. It basically just there's a couple calls that it's got to make to Cove to pull information. So the first call is for 365 users. The second one is going to be to get devices. Yeah, so sorry, I'm not used to doing demos too often. So we get our device counts and everything here. And I've run into issues with sometimes we have customers that don't have devices. They only have like 365 users being backed up. And so I had to figure out a way to get the workflow to accept when it didn't get a good return from the device call versus the 365 call. And then we moved down into looking for the agreement in ConnectWise, which is what we use, and then finding the specific addition on the agreement that we need to update the quantities on. We've broken the additions down into the 365 users, the servers they have, virtual servers, and workstations. And yeah, so when I look for the additions, if I don't find the addition, I've got these steps over here in the current workflow, they're calling that it's just a no-op. I'm working on another version of this right now to actually send an email out when I find that there's no addition. But if we have data, then it runs an update on the quantity. And yeah, so far it's working pretty well. The new version that I'm working on for this is a little bit more complicated because I was running into issues with getting the workflows to, or the actions in the workflow to run in the right order. So I had these just kind of stepping through and doing their own thing, but I was finding that if one of these in the middle was missing the addition, it would run this, but then this last one, the set variable for the missing addition wouldn't get run. It would just jump into the final steps of the workflow. So yeah, this one is pretty much ready to go. I just need to build a workflow that listens for it to be done so that it can send the email out to my contracts team.
And coming back to the one you showed first, Matt, the original one, what was the trickiest part of setting this up for you, or what was like a problem solving moment?
I actually had help from Will Young from Baring McKinley on this. There were a couple instances that caused a lot of problem. One was just figuring out how to get certain calls to Cove to work with the new integration. Specifically the devices one here. I couldn't find a lot of information about how to format this JSON object. So Will helped out a lot with figuring out how to get this to run. Also counting the devices. This is really my first like from scratch workflow. So figuring out how to actually count the devices from the calls that we were getting from Cove was confusing. I still don't fully understand how this one is working.
You said it was that Will helped you out a little bit?
Yeah, Will Young from Baring McKinley.
Shout out Will, yeah. I mean, that's what I always find amazing about the Rewst community is, you know, not everyone is going to be able to smash out super complex workflows without having some questions and need a little bit of help for problem solving. And that's where, you know, as we talk about every week, the Discord community or even just folks that you meet through Discord comes in handy for people sharing that knowledge. Andrew, I see you got your hands raised. Do you have a question?
I do. How are you getting the devices from Cove? Like my issue is that I can get a count from Cove, but it just has a type of backup manager, so I can't differentiate a workstation backup from a server backup. How did you figure that out? Are you just doing a bare API call? Is that a Cove API request?
This is just the generic Cove API request. Okay. And using the enumerate account statistics method along with the specific columns. I think somebody else has also posted the columns in the Discord at one point or another. But this will actually return,
Cove is a bit of a pain because it's still, unless they've updated it, but the last I looked at Cove, it was still using the SOAP API and not a REST API. It makes it weird when you're making calls.
Yeah, they're JSON RPC or something, I think.
Yeah, it's really
it was definitely weird.
It's an odd API.
So the results we're getting, I had to convert the column names into like a name that I can actually understand. Let me pull up the results. I can show you guys. So the devices returns this information, and it basically just returns a bunch of information for each device. And we had to, I believe we had to try and cut this down to just the unique customer or the unique device ID, and then counting based on the physical or virtual and if it was a server or workstation, because it'll return physical and virtual workstations as well, but we don't do virtual workstations. So hopefully that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Cool, good job, and thanks for presenting. I know you said you weren't used to doing demos, but yeah, that was great, very informative. Okay, next up we have Austin on deck for a demo, and then just a heads up, Andrew, I'm going to call on you afterwards, and if we have time, Jonathan Bramley, I did see your note in the chat. We'll see if we can circle back to you if we can squeeze you in. But Austin, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello, and where today are you calling in from, sir?
I am from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Alrighty. And what is the workflow that you're going to be taking us through?
So basically, it is an expanded version of the AV-EDR coverage gaps crate.
Cool. Okay, so you've unpacked this crate and then made some enhancements to it, some alterations.
Yep, that's correct.
Sweet. Let's take a look. So maybe for people who are unfamiliar with the crate, do you mind just explaining kind of its purpose for when it was unpacked? And yeah, then please take us through some of the additions you've made.
Yep, absolutely. So it's basically what it does is it takes a look at both your RMM and whatever you use for your EDR. It compares them. It determines what devices are protected, as in both, what devices are unprotected, meaning they're in your RMM but not in your EDR, and then what we call extra devices, or devices that are only in your EDR but not your RMM. I've expanded that a bit to also check Entra, just to get like an extra check to kind of figure out where's our coverage gap, where we're missing agents so that we don't miss things. So to start, I made some changes to how it pulls computers a little bit. We use mCentral, and I used a custom endpoint that wasn't existing. Basically, just call the customer's ID and look at its devices. From there, I basically have an object that pulls most data, but we're missing like its last contact date, which we want just in case. So we have to make a second API call that loops through each of those devices. And then basically what it does is it stores that last contact time for each of the devices. And then we basically combine those two and match them based on their ID. And that kind of gives us like a final object that has all the information we need for each and every device. So after we have that list of everything in our RMM, we go to our EDR. I don't think I changed this too much. I think all I really did was added it so that it also pulls last user, just so we can see who's there, so we can kind of get an idea of whose device is this, so we can reach out to them and get everything in sync. But pretty much same thing, just pulls all those devices, puts it in a JSON object, outputs it to the top level workflow. Then that's where I added the listing extra devices. This is super basic. I didn't create a sub workflow on it yet. I may do that so I can make it reusable, but I just got this finished yesterday, so it's not perfect. So yeah, all it's doing is pulling extra devices. I did not see anywhere where it stores like last user, so at the moment it's just names of the devices. And then in here, it's basically just double checking that its last sign-in time isn't null, which probably means it's just like broken and not an actual device that ever really checked in. And then just make sure that it's checked in with the last 90 days. If it's been more than 90 days, we assume that it's probably no longer used. After we get all three of those, we basically have this very long bit of code that compares all three of them. I have not formatted this crate yet, so it is pretty messy, I'll admit. But basically, we're just setting some empty variables here, empty arrays for everything we want. Unprotected, devices that are extra, or ones that are extra and Entra that aren't in either of the other two. And then we're basically just for all of these setting the names of the devices for all of those so that we can compare them in a list. This first one just checks. This one is the RMM devices that aren't in Sentinel-1, I believe. Yeah, I believe there's RMM devices that aren't in Sentinel-1. Another loop that checks for devices in Sentinel-1 but not in RMM. And then lastly, it checks devices that are in Entra but not in, I believe, not in RMM right now. I need to check both. That's an improvement I need to make. But ultimately, that would be in Entra but not on the other two. And then it basically just updates them into a big JSON object. If I go over here, you can kind of see what that would actually look like. I will say in this example, there were nothing extra in Entra or unprotected, so those are blank, but it would have a list of devices similar to this if they were there. So we have this big JSON object that has everything that's kind of in one thing, but not in the others where we care about. And then from there, right now, I'm just sending an email because I'm getting some feedback from my team, so we're not putting in that ticket yet. But it basically just takes those three objects and puts them in a list. Here's an example email of the same thing. Just has the headers for explaining what it's missing from, and then it lists those devices along with the last username if it exists. And that's pretty much everything for it. Any questions or comments on that?
I think like I have one like Austin, and hopefully this doesn't trigger anyone in the emotional sense, that is, but looking back, like this is obviously super important to have in place, you know, making sure there's no gaps between what's listed from your customer point of view and your RMM and your EDR. I think it's a good example of like how much progress MSPs have been able to make with automation, because if you weren't using automation to check this, would you literally just be having to like check this manually and kind of compare spreadsheets, or what would that look like without using something like this to help you tally where those gaps are?
I think it really would be just like having three separate CSVs and having to either manually look through them, or if you're familiar with creating like VLOOKUP tables in Excel, having to do something like that and trying to make comparisons. Yeah, it would be a fairly manual process, and it would require a lot of, you know, human hours. With this, it's you get an email that gives you the details. You still obviously have to go review and figure out why is it not in one system or the other, but combining that information and getting it to someone is extremely valuable.
So here's the cheeky question. Have you put in your time savings for this workflow of what that would look like?
I have not yet. I admit it. I know, shame on me. Shame on me.
Shame. Someone post the the Game of Thrones get in the chat there. No, obviously that, but like super cool workflow. Love that you were able to get instant value out of that crate and then make some cool additions to it as well. I think this is really something that every MSP should have unpacked, because you want to make sure that your everything is aligned and matching across your systems, particularly when it comes to your master list and your RMM and folks you're protecting with an EDR, right? So, but yeah, I don't think many people would like exporting a bunch of CSVs and having to compare it manually. So I'm just going to check the chat for any questions here. If anyone else wants to come off mute, there's that GIF. Thank you, Dan. You knew exactly what I was talking about. And JP, yeah, admiring your enhancements too. Okay, then moving on, Mr. Andrew, welcome to this is your second open mic call, is that correct?
This is my second,
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what I'm going to do, guys, is give a little bit of a backstory, because I invited Andrew to speak on something today. He very graciously accepted at a moment's notice. But Andrew was part of our first ever onboarding cohort here at Rewst, which is a new initiative that we've implemented this year, whereby new partners at Rewst kind of go through a bi-weekly cadence call where we kind of hop on and not only do some tips and tricks around building a culture of automation, but do some live building, as well as take our time with new partners where they can share their first builds and we can give them some tips and tricks. So Andrew's very kindly agreed to show us his first workflow today as a new partner, which, you know, I know a lot of folks here have done before and know that they kind of of nerves that come with that. But Andrew also knows
little
we're
nerves.
very welcoming, friendly community, and so we're all here to kind of check it out and offer some tips and tricks and see what you've been building. But maybe before you share your screen and show us, Andrew, how have you found doing the onboarding cohort stuff? What's been your experience of it?
It's been really great. It's kind of nice to collaborate. It's nice to meet like some of the people at Rewst. Like I've met you, I've met Jesse, so it's kind of nice. And you guys are local to me, or at least Jesse's nearby, right? I can't remember where you're from, but I'm in Ontario, Canada. I'm in a small town called Stayner. I work for a company called Infinity Network Solutions. We're based out of another small town called Owen Sound. So it's kind of nice to meet people that work for the organization that are local. So that was really cool. But just like
Ontario here.
Nice. But just, meeting people that have like the same idea or the same goal as me, which is kind of cool, and collaborating and bouncing ideas off each other. So it's, I think the cohorts has been pretty beneficial, especially for introductions and getting us talking. I know the very first call was, we just got right into it, and we're being engaged, ask questions, what is your idea of how this workflow should work? So, it was really good.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing, Andrew. I would say, guys, two key things on the cohorts. If you are new, like brand new to Rewst, and you're on this call and you're like, what is that? And you're interested in joining one, or maybe you signed up for Rewst a couple of months ago and things have got busy and you're kind of like, I just want to do a bit of a reset and take it seriously this time. Shoot me an email or a message on Discord, and we can get you added into the next cohort that's going through. We'll kind of take you through some stuff in Cluck U. We'll get the live building going, and if it's that's a learning style that you're into, we'd be more than happy to have you on the sort of next cohort that actually starts next week. Alternatively, if you're someone on this call that has been with Rewst for a long time and has been ever helpful in Discord, and you would be interested on hopping on one or two cohort calls in more of a mentor capacity, just to hop on and share some thoughts and wisdom for 10 or 20 minutes on a call in the future, we'd be more than happy to have you as another MSP partner, kind of impart some tips and tricks to other folks who are beginning their automation journey. So once again, whether you want to help out with the cohorts a little bit, shoot me a message. And if you're, again, a business owner, as I mentioned earlier, we did drop that form for the new focus group in the chat. But Andrew, go ahead and share your screen and show us your first ever workflow.
Yeah, so started down a very complicated track, jumped right past all the low-hanging fruit and went right to one of the most complicated workflows, I think. It turned out to be very complicated very quickly. So our biggest issue is billing reconciliation. We just recently moved to ConnectWise, and with that move, we are finding that numbers don't exactly match up. So started building this out. I know there is a billing workflow that I've kind of been modeling after, sort of, but it's missing a few key things for me. One of them being End Central. It doesn't have that RMM, and it doesn't grab the counts from agreements, which is something kind of critical. So I'm using a form initially. So if the form just captures 3 pieces of data. It captures organizations, account managers. So I haven't fixed that yet, but it's going to grab the companies based on account manager, and then it just goes through. So I haven't built this out yet. Checks for account manager, moves on. I know I'm using a ton of no ops here. I could probably do these within transitions, but I've got a ton of, I think if companies. I know there's a ton of comment was going on in the last open mic about that. But if it's yes, then I just go through and I get all of the organizations and then I store them. If If it was no, then it goes through the list of companies. So in my form, I'm dynamically pulling the orgs from the dynamic variables, pulling right from Rewst. So it gets the Rewst organizations. And this is probably taken up most of my yesterday and today with this part. So I'm actually pulling these directly from that billing licensing crate or billing count crate. So I was trying to figure this one out. This one is kind of interesting how it actually works and pulls everything. But this specifically, I'm just collecting the tenant IDs. Then I had to flatten the variables because I was getting a weird list. So back to, I'm going to make a shout out to Eddie's Clean Automation and his Jinja videos. Those are great. And then I go through all of the products. I'm going to show something. It's probably going to reveal way more information than I need to, but I'm going to show it anyway. This we talked about in our in the cohorts call. This is that workflow for like your org variable setup. So this is a great place where I'm grabbing all the org IDs rather than, you know, trying to find each of the org IDs from a gigantic list right from the like output. So then I just filter. I just filter for things matching the name, gives me another list, and then I just input those variables. This one's nice. It takes an array, which is great. And then I'm just manipulating data and grouping things so that when I ultimately at the end, when I get output, and this is something that could be improved upon, like I mentioned in my question before about getting like server versus workstation, this is just getting things that match backup manager. So it's just grabbing all counts of like what would be a device. We use DNS filters, so I'm getting a count of all the agents for the customer. So to filter that one, it's just going through. I'm just iterating through and creating lists. And central, we count the pro licenses. We don't count anything that's not. So we bill for the pro license itself. So this one uses another sub workflow. I guess I could show off some of these sub workflows that I've created. They're kind of like the main points of pulling all the information. This one was kind of interesting. It pulls out data and it gives me a ton of data where it has two types, where it has a one-time and a month type. So I had to filter through and just pull anything out that matched, you know, these subscriptions rather than pulling out everything that was like one time. And this one is still not returning data for me, this one here, because I think I figured it out actually. This one runs as an organization and I don't think I have them mapped properly to run as organization, but this is my attempt at a billing workflow and it's still in progress. We still have a ton of product to add. Like I've got Connect Secure, which is not added yet. We use Checkpoint Harmony, that's not in there yet. Quick Pass, I haven't been able to get that to work yet. There's just a ton of product that I still need to expand upon for this one. But I'm getting there. And I haven't even started to output data into, the ultimate goal is a CSV just for reporting purposes, and then eventually to actually making adjustments in the agreements in ConnectWise.
Yeah, well, this is super impressive, Andrew, for someone who's only been using Rewst for a few weeks and jumping right in with you know, kicking ass in their first workflow. So well done. I mean, even doing some of the sub workflow stuff there, super impressive. So there you are, folks. Andrew Nicholson, remember the name. I think we'll be seeing a little bit more of him in this community as time goes on. But we are at time there, guys. So we are going to call it. Apologies, Jonathan. I will definitely get you on the agenda for next week for your little workflow there. We're looking forward to seeing it. So yeah, if anyone, as I mentioned, missed those links or joined late, please look back in the chat. We've got an education competition for simple workflows. We have a new business leaders focus group and a little bit of info on the cohort stuff. Just ping me on Discord if you're interested in either getting added to one or helping with some mentor stuff. But it is Friday, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, crack a beer, have an iced coffee, do whatever you're doing, and we look forward to seeing you next time. So I'll stay around for anyone who has any kind of other questions. But yeah, guys, enjoy the weekend.
Okay, I have a quick question.
Yes, who's that? Who's speaking? Rod?
Yeah, just because I'm waiting on Discord for an answer to something, but somebody can just probably answer quickly. And I think I've done this before, but I need what action do I need to use to trigger a webhook? I have a webhook waiting, and I need to trigger it. Like there's an HTTP action or something to do that. Is there not? I can't seem to find it.
It's under core.
Oh, I got the answer. Sorry, Jamie just posted it to me.
Damn, there you go. Speed. All right. That's good. Cool. Okay, I see folks who ping me in Discord. I'll get back to you guys directly. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Enjoy your weekend, everyone.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Toodles.